We got some shit to talk about, people. What's going on? It's Friday afternoon for me, and we had a game last night, which was interesting in and of itself. We can talk about that, but we have stuff to talk about beyond even that. So, first, let's just talk about the game. I'll do the best I can to just talk about the game yesterday without talking about the action today. We'll be getting to that very shortly here because last night's game, I didn't even make a pregame video for it because I didn't really know what I was looking for. So let's just go over it real quick. We won on a dramatic last-minute drive, so that's fun. And if I was to say the positives from the game, I would say Austin Davis played great in the second half. He looked like a real NFL quarterback and somebody who we can have sticking around throughout the regular season. Mike Davis looked really good. J.D. McKissick solidified his spot on the team. He has to make the roster now. He's a good running back. He's a good receiver. And he can return kicks and punts. There's too much versatility there. He's got to make the roster. What else? Oh, Casey Williams made a couple nice catches. Kenny Lawler made plays. I don't think there's room for Kenny Lawler on the team, but nevertheless, he made plays. Amara Darboh finally did something this preseason, which is really good because whether we like it or not, Darboh's going to make the team, I think anyway, because he's a rookie draft pick. So us not seeing anything from that dude in the preseason was discouraging, and it was good to see him do something, even if you're still not the most optimistic about him when it comes to our young wide receivers. Who else? Defensively, let's move to defense real quick. Terrence Garvin was in on another turnover. He recovered a fumble this time. You like seeing the game end on an interception to close things out, even if it's, meaningless and kind of fluky. Let's see here. Nazir Jones made a good play. Dewey McDonald made several good plays out there. I saw Bradley McDougall do a couple nice things out there as well. And you're holding an Oakland team to 13 points. That's solid just as a team. If you're talking about the team effort out there, you would say that the defense did their job. Blair Walsh missed a kick, but it was off the dirt, and there aren't very many stadiums out there that make you kick off dirt anymore, so I'm not sweating that. That's totally fine. He made another kick. Blair Walsh, I'm ready to go. And if it ends up busting, it ends up busting. But all around, pretty satisfied with all of that. That was all some good stuff. Negatives. Well, it has to start with Trevon Boykin because this was his backup job to lose, and I think he lost it. I don't see him being our backup this year. I think he had it, and he blew it. So, Davis is the guy. If competition means anything, Austin Davis just plain looked better this preseason than Boykin, and he, in the competition of trying to earn that backup roster spot, he earned it. So he should have it, even though you watch Boykin and you see some of the nice plays, you see the athleticism, the escapability, and you go, I really wish that guy would figure it out. He's been in the league a couple years now, and he is not improving. He still makes the stupid plays. Just last night, he had 2 bad interceptions. He had another pass that could have easily been picked off. He had a pass that he threw while he was falling down that I think gets picked off most of the time, but it happened to fall right into a wide-open Seahawk, which I don't know how to feel about that. He blew the end of half possession by not letting us kick a long field goal, which I understand going for the touchdown in the preseason, but he completely blew that play. And just in general, the last 2 games, he's looked like a dude that you cannot put out there in a real game situation and expect anything good out of. I know he closed out the 49er game last year, but he just isn't improving. So that was discouraging. CJ Prosise, it was his first game back from injury, so I'm not worried about it, but he misjudged things a couple times on his touches. He had 4 touches, didn't do anything much with them. Tanner McAvoy dropped an easy catch, which right now with the wide receiver situation on this team, you don't want to be doing that. It gives room to a guy like Kenny Lawler and Kason Williams to take that roster spot from you. A couple of penalties were not good. I think Marcus Smith, the dude we picked up from the Eagles, the first-round bust from the Eagles, had a really dumb penalty that kept a scoring drive alive for Oakland. Cassius Marsh had a roughing the passer call too, which it was close. He probably should have peeled back a little bit, but it wasn't the most egregious thing I've ever seen, so I'm not worried about that. David Bass had another pretty good game, I thought. I would say that's probably about it for that game last night. There was definitely interesting stuff to see. Alex Collins got a bunch of touches in this game, which was kind of interesting because it looks like Collins is on the way out. We're trying to trade him, and if we can't trade him, we're going to cut him. So we were trying to showcase him, see if anybody would be willing to bite. I'm not optimistic about that. So that's the game. We win. We look pretty good out there. Oh, negative. I got to list one more negative here. Affetti and Glowinski both struggled. I'm sorry to say. There were only a couple starters who played last night. The offensive line was one portion of the team that did. Most of the guys look fine. But Affetti and Glowinski, I'm a little concerned about that right side right now. I was up on them after last week, but I got to say it like it is. But I can't even think about most of that stuff right now. I mean, I'm aware that we played a game yesterday. I'm aware of what happened. I'm aware of the significance of it all. But I can't even sweat it right now because the absolute madman did it again. Jermaine Kearse, we had fun, man. You joined the team the same year Russell Wilson did, the same year Bobby Wagner did. You were a special teamer. You made big-time catches in the 2013 playoff run. You made the game-winning touchdown catch against the 49ers in the NFC Championship game. You scored a touchdown in the Super Bowl. You had some nice catches against the Saints in the playoffs. You had what was almost the greatest catch in Super Bowl history the next year. Probably would be the best catch in Super Bowl history if we had won that game. You scored touchdowns against the Packers, against the Panthers. You have, like, if you were to list the 10 biggest catches in Seahawks history, you would have like 4 of them, I think. You were a guy who I love to root for. He played high school football like 3 minutes from where I live. He's he's very close to where I'm from. So it was great to have him around, but there was an opportunity here. Jermaine Kearse signed a pretty decent contract last offseason, and I'm not saying it was all his fault, but last year he was one of the worst receivers in football. He wasn't producing. He wasn't making the most of his opportunities. We had several wide receivers on this roster who just looked more interesting than Jermaine Kearse, especially now that we've added a couple people. And there was an opportunity to cut loose on that last 2 years of that deal. So, with all appreciation to Jermaine Kearse, who, by the way, would have been okay last year if Russell Wilson stopped throwing him the ball in the red zone. I'm just saying. I got pissed off at it too, but it wasn't completely his fault. He was just doing his job. Jermaine Kearse has been shipped off to the New York Jets along with a second-round pick for Sheldon Richardson. There's also a 7th-round draft pick swap in there too. But guys, after the first 2 preseason games, I was still pretty high on the team. I was thinking like, okay, this team can win 11 games or maybe 12. This is a team that can win the division, win a playoff game, and then after that, they have to catch some breaks, but they're at least that good. And then after the Kansas City game, I was like, okay, these guys might be a 13-win team. The offensive line's better. Special teams, special teams struggled a little bit against Kansas City, but I do believe they're going to be better. I was thinking, okay, this team could win 13 games. This team could get a first-round bye, compete for the 1 seed, and compete for a Super Bowl berth. But right now, I'm telling you guys, if we beat the Packers week 1 next week, And I'm not feeling great about that game, but if we beat the Packers, it could be off to the races. We just added one of the best defensive tackles in football, a bona fide pass rusher at the defensive tackle spot, something that we have lacked these last few years. We have not gotten push up the middle on defense these last few years. Sheldon Richardson, he can get push up the middle. He can plug the run. He can play the pass. He can do it all. One of the best defensive tackles in the league over the last several years. And to get him, we had to give up the draft pick, which I'll talk about that in a second because it's not nothing. But to get him, all we had to do was give up a receiver who may have been in the way of a couple guys who, while they're not as experienced and they're not as fluent in the offense, they might be more talented. They might be more interesting to use. Casey Williams has better jump ball skills than Jermaine Kearse does. Paul Richardson is way faster and way more of a talent than Jermaine Kearse is. Tyler Lockett, we already know he's better than Jermaine Kearse ever will be. But we just need him to come back healthy. Tanner McAvoy is bigger than Jermaine Kearse. I'm not saying all these guys are better. Some of them are, some of them aren't. They all are more interesting than Jermaine Kearse. The Madman did it again, guys, and I am ecstatic today. I feel bad shipping Jermaine Kearse off to a team that literally wants to lose every game this season, that wants to go 1-15 or 0-16, but this opportunity was way too good to let go because you feel bad for a dude having to play for a bunch of shitters. So, Tyler Lockett, you hope he's at 100% for week 1 because we need him all the more now. You hope Paul Richardson hangs on. You hope Casey Williams, Tanner McAvoy, maybe Amara Darboh or Kenny Lawler. You hope those guys are ready to fill the gap left because Kearse, whatever you want to say about him, he was generally capable of playing wide receiver at an NFL level. And we don't 100% know about some of these guys that are going to be replacing him, but we knew that about Jermaine. But there's no way I can be sad about this right now. We just took a defensive line that looked like it was going to be an all-time great defensive line this year, lost their star rookie, and suddenly everything seemed to be brought down a bit. And now all of a sudden we're back up higher than we were because however good you thought Malik McDowell was going to be this year, and I thought he was going to be good, Sheldon Richardson is leaps and bounds beyond a rookie. All right, guys, I got to go.